Are you busy?
Not really. Just finished studying.
Good, because I want to tell you the story of how I met your father.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 How I Met Your Mother references in How I Met Your Father.
New York rules! I'll drink to that!
For this list, we'll be looking at nods to the original show that casual and hardcore fans might pick up on in the new sequel series. We'll be limiting the list to only the first 2 episodes from the premiere. What was your favorite reference to How I Met Your Mother so far? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Marine biologists. Within the first few minutes of How I Met Your Father, there were already several nods to the original, some of which we'll get to later. But to kick off our list, we spotted a double reference when Sophie is texting her recent Tinder date, Ian. When asked about his job, Ian responds,
I know this sounds made up, but I'm a marine biologist.
That is 100% made up.
In season 6 of the original, Ted calls out Robin about a date she had with a marine biologist. In an awkward situation, she hadn't believed a word he said about going to the North Pole, thinking it was a made-up place. Much like how Sophie agrees that Ian's job sounds fake.
You know what I'm going on a trip to, Scott? It starts in Narnia, it works its way up to Candyland, and then, hey, congratulate me, because I'm the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher at Hogwarts. Expelliarmus!
Robin, the North Pole is a real place. You know that, right?
Furthermore, the infamous Slutty Pumpkin was also a marine biologist.
She spent a year in Antarctica studying penguins.
Oh, penguins are cool. Kind of like black and white Ewoks. I approve.
Number 9. Proposal in the first episode. After the narrator's introduction, the very first words spoken on How I Met Your Mother came from Marshall.
Will you marry me?
Yes, perfect. And then you're engaged. You pop the champagne, you drink a toast.
This practice run on Ted was followed up by the real deal later on in the episode. In the pilot for How I Met Your Father, we first encounter young Sophie as she gets into an Uber and meets Sid and Jesse.
Don't mind him, he's just hitching a ride.
Oh, ask me why I'm hitching a ride. Come on, ask me.
Why are you hitching a ride, Sid?
I'm proposing to my girlfriend tonight.
Sid goes on to tell her all about his girlfriend Hannah and his proposal plan, which, of course, he goes through with later that night. Thankfully this time, no one almost lost an eye over a champagne cork, but Hannah did splash her drink in Sid's face by accident.
A lung just became available for my patient! Yes! Oh!
Number 8. Let's be friends. Ted's journey to find the mother all started with Robin. Despite there being an attraction between them, she kiboshed any talk of serious romance early on.
We could be friends. Look, I know it sounds insincere when people say that, but we could.
And as much as it sucks to be friend-zoned, it's all too common. Such was the case for Sophie and Jesse. Jesse had previously been through a very uncomfortable, very public breakup with his girlfriend. After thinking he was supposed to be set up on a date with Soph, Jesse got his hopes up, only to have them dashed when he learns she's still hung up on another guy.
Oh no. Did you think tonight was about you and Sophie?
You know, I really didn't, but someone convinced me it was.
The two agree that they're both a mess, and Sophie suggests trying to be just friends. Only time will tell if the two end up romantically entangled.
Because I actually can see it.
Number 7. Character sings all the time. Given how much musical talent Jason Segel has, it's no wonder the How I Met Your Mother creators had him singing so often. It even came up in the season 3 episode spoiler alert, when everyone realized how often he gave musical accompaniment to the most mundane things.
Brought in a check 'cause I feel guilty. The Salvation Army does not fight fair.
With Hilary Duff's long musical career, there was never any doubt that her singing would likewise come into the show eventually. But we didn't expect it so soon.
Tell me, did the wind sweep you off your feet? Did you? It's my comfort song. It works for everything.
In episode 2, we see Sophie repeatedly singing along to the 2001 Train hit in an effort to melt her sorrows away. There is, however, a sweet touch at the end when we come to find out Jesse turned to the same song for consolation.
I know it's kind of cheesy, but it's just sort of my comfort song.
Number 6. A Missed Kiss. In the original show, Ted had 2 chances to kiss Robin on their first date, And despite the signs being there, he didn't take the leap.
What? That was the signal.
That long, lingering handshake, you should have kissed her.
There's no such thing as this signal. But yeah, that was the signal.
He regretted his lapse in courage, and years later found out she had indeed wanted him to kiss her. A nice reference to this moment also came in the pilot for How I Met Your Father. As Sophie's date with Ian comes to an end, the attraction between them is obvious. Though Sophie definitely reciprocates his feelings, she can't get past the fact that he's soon moving to Australia. Instead, she gently puts the brakes on.
I think it's best if we don't. Maybe someday.
It's certainly a nod to the original Ted and Robin moment, but spun just enough to make it different. Number 5. Finding love after one date. What's one guaranteed way to kill the mood of a perfect first date? Get way too serious way too soon. Ted learned that the hard way while dancing with Robin in her apartment.
I think I'm in love with you.
What? What?
What?
After a single date, he somehow thought she was the one. Sophie met Ian through Tinder, and after countless texts, she finally gets a face-to-face date with him, an event that she looks forward to with a sense of destiny.
And that brings us to tonight. And my last first date ever.
Wow. That's romantic as hell.
Based on just this one interaction alone, we can certainly see the resemblance between Sophie and Ted. Maybe if Tracy hadn't been Ted's real one, these two could have been a perfect match.
No, I can't do it. No, the truth is, the chances of this guy being your soulmate are lower than low.
Number 4. A future living narrator. Okay, even we can admit this one is pretty obvious. The entire basis for the original show was future Ted telling his kids the story of how he met their mother.
Yeah, is this gonna take a while?
Yes. 25 years ago, before I was dad, I had this whole other life.
Although flashbacks have been used in countless TV shows and movies, this was certainly a new way to frame the storytelling in a sitcom. So when How I Met Your Father first opens and we see Kim Cattrall talking to her son, we already know where this is going.
You know the basics. But it's time for me to tell you the unabridged version.
How many glasses of that wine have you had?
Just enough to include the sexy bits.
The nice change in this version is that we don't get to see the kids at all, and the narrator is front and center. Only time will tell if this switch-up works as well as its predecessor.
Oh, that's a much longer story. Now, where was I? Where'd I put that bottle of wine?
Number 3. Catchphrases and sayings. Come on, have you met my legend? Wait for it, dairy friend Ted. If there is one thing How I Met Your Mother gave fans, it was countless catchphrases, sayings, and quips that we've been reciting ever since. It was a major staple of the long-running series, so it only seemed natural that How I Met Your Father would follow in its footsteps. As Sophie sits at the bar talking to Jesse, she confuses him with the use of the term Brooklyn Bridge Girl.
It's this thing I made up.
Okay.
See, I've lived in New York since college, but I've never walked across the Brooklyn Bridge. And after a while, I waited so long that I decided I would wait and walk it with my soulmate.
It's the first time we hear one of the characters use some kind of catchphrase or saying that seems to be unique to them. Here's hoping for many more.
I freeze under pressure. This is why I've been hit by 3 city bikes.
Number 2. Same theme song. Have you ever heard of the band The Solids? How I Met Your Mother creators Carter Bays and Craig Thomas formed the band and used a portion of one of their songs as the theme to their show. Another clear nod to the original, How I Met Your Father leverages the same theme song, with a twist. In the same vein as the show's female perspective, this new interpretation of the intro is sung by a woman named Lennon Stella. Both versions of the song are great, but we love how the new one conveys far more femininity than the original, lining up perfectly with the tone of the show.
Ooh. Yeah, we totally nailed the ending. Yeah, that was probably like our best one.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Bought the apartment from an old couple. Aside from our previous entry, there's not much on this list that was obvious enough to connect the show directly to the original.
Puzzles. People will be like, why is it called puzzles? That's the puzzle.
That is, until Sid opened the door to his apartment. As the gang enters, we see something very familiar.
Wow, love your place.
Thanks. It was a total score. We got it from this old married couple who posted it on the Wesleyan alumni group.
It's the very apartment the entire first series took place in. Between Jesse's comments about who sold them the apartment, and the two swords hung on the wall, it's clear they're sitting in Ted and Marshall's apartment. Not only does it pay tribute to the original, it also confirms that Sophie's New York is the same as Ted's. With McLaren's pub just downstairs, who knows what or who we might see in a future episode.
Charlie, this city is magic.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.